and welcome to the Golden Hour and the Manifest to Live Life Golden show on podcast and YouTube. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, and I am really excited today because we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants. I decided to do this show a little bit different, just to give it something spicy, just to give something new to you all that we've never done before. So I've got several books. I've written actually 4 books. My 4th book just got published, and it is The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul. My first book is Mindful Manifestation Secrets. So if you've never read this is actually on Amazon and Audible. And I've decided today that I'm going to get this one on Audible for you as well. And then I have my journal, Mindful Manifestations Daily Secrets Guide and Journal, and then I have Quantum Speak for Parents. So I thought it would be fun today to do a little roulette because I truly believe in divine guidance, and I believe that I am being led to share messages. So when you do a little roulette with books and you just kind of open them up, I always feel like the message that is given to us is divinely inspired. So I closed my eyes before I got on the show. I took a couple of deep breaths and I just asked for divine inspiration today for the messages that we all as a collective need to hear. And all of you that are listening are open and ready to receive. I've given a lot to these books. I over time, if you're looking to write a book, here's some suggestions. I've suggested this before, but let me just put it in kind of a different context. If you feel like you have a book inside of you, you have a book inside of you that needs to be put into the world. That call from your heart, that feeling, that every day feeling like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing or sharing a message that is really meant to be shared, that call to your heart is really important, and it's important for you to answer it. So I wanted to write a book for a very long time, even like since 7th grade. I have my one report card that I saved. My teacher said she could see me being an author someday because I love to write. I love to share what's coming through me. Every day I do a Facebook post. You probably all know that. And the messages that come through me. And if you're not on Facebook or you don't see my Facebook posts every day, it's Golden Duffy, or on Instagram, it's Live Life Golden, and with a Y. You can also subscribe to my website, livelifegolden.com, and you will get those to your inbox. I'm pretty good about doing it every day. Sometimes not every single day. Sometimes it's the weekend. Sometimes I'm on vacation. If I don't have my computer with me, most likely I'm not going to do it. So, and sometimes I forget. Sometimes I get busy, but I'm trying really hard to make that a habit to get those posts to people's inboxes, because I realize some people don't want to be on social media. Sidebar to that, I just actually listened to this thing about dopamine yesterday and being on your phone. And it's interesting because recently I've been kind of taking a kickback, relaxing, allowing time. Sometimes I do this where I don't do a lot of creating and I just kind of step back. I still do the show, but I just step back from a lot of different things and I just get in the receiving mode. I spend more time meditating. But I have noticed when I do that and I don't have a plan for creating, I will end up being on my phone more. And my daughter even said something to me the other day. She's like, yeah, I feel like it's been really bad with my phone lately, and I'm struggling to not be addicted to it and getting, kind of sucked into the feeds and all of that. TikTok is a big one. I am not on TikTok for that reason, because I felt like the rush of energy on TikTok was too much for me. And I just didn't want to contribute to that, even though TikTok is a huge forum and it's great and you get a lot of information. I would click onto TikTok and all of a sudden an hour would go by and I would have no idea what happened. So I don't recommend it. But basically the thing that I heard, it was a little Instagram feed. Of course, I was on social media when I heard it. Was all about dopamine and how every time you're on your phone, you get this dopamine dump, right? And what ends up happening is it creates an addiction to that dopamine feeling. But what it also does is it depletes your dopamine to the point that you need more dopamine just to feel happy. You need things that are more of an elevated experience to feel happy. Now, is this true? I don't know. But I do know somebody who's really awake and aware and really conscious about addictions and not letting things control me. I do find myself challenged by the phone sometimes. So, every time you get a like, every time you get somebody to comment on your post, there is this rush. There's an addiction to us feeling admired. There's an addiction to us feeling validated. So, there's more to it than just the dopamine dump of being on social media, and then what it does to our focus, because we are running through things, especially if you watch a lot of reels, which I don't do. My husband does it, and it drives me a little bit crazy. Because the reels are blasting you with energy and it's moving your brain so quickly that it's hard for us to relax. It's hard for us to quiet our minds. It's hard for us to get back into that state of receiving if we are constantly taking in information. The other thing that I found with Instagram that you may be aware of, but if not, I'll share how I've been feeling about Instagram. I went on Instagram because everybody was on Instagram, right? And I started right during COVID, I started to kind of ramp up on Instagram. And the weird thing about Instagram is I've had the same amount of followers for the last year, and it'll drop by 3 and then it'll go up by 3. It's the weirdest thing. So I don't know Instagram very well, but what I do know is it is consumerism at its finest. I buy so many things because of Instagram, and I've gotten to the point where I won't buy something right away, but I'll kind of put it to the side. And then if I see it a couple more times, I'm going to buy it. So my daughter and I were joking the other day about oh, what'd you buy this week? Because you end up buying a lot of things. It's literally consumerism at its finest, because we are constantly being bombarded with these ads and these people that are telling us we need this product to be better. So pay attention to that, because you could be giving all your money away to Instagram. And why would you want to do that? That's not being abundant, right? Okay. So, when it comes to writing books, I shared before, my technique is 3 pages a day. And the cool thing about 3 pages a day is a lot of times it will end up becoming more because you will get excited about it. But what the 3 pages a day does, it gives you consistency. It gives you 90 pages in a month. It gives you focus. And it actually gets you to sit down and do the thing that keeps calling to you. So it checks that box off of, oh, I'm sharing my message. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm getting the words on paper, and I'm getting out what I feel like I'm being called to get out. So to me, that's probably the biggest thing that it does, is it checks off that box of feeling like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm not sharing what I'm supposed to be sharing here. And that's a big box. That's the box of purpose and fulfillment that I think really serves our collective, the entire collective. Because if you have a message that you're feeling needs to be shared, there are people out there that are asking for that message. I believe a lot of times that's what happens with my posts. When you do intuitive things and you wake up and you kind of channel a message out, and then you find a huge amount of people that are loving it and saying, I needed to hear this today. We are co-creating together. We are in this universe together to co-create. So as we give out and share those messages, we are creating something very miraculous, very cool, very co-creative. And that's one of the things I love the most. All right. So I'm going to pull from my new book. So I've had a lot of people ordering this, and I want to say, I've decided to do this, and hopefully there'll be some left when you see this, because I don't know what's going to happen after I share this. I have decided, if you haven't read my first book and you're ordering my second book, these kind of go together. So Mindful Manifestation Secrets Daily Guide and Journal is the science of creating, and it's kind of the exact way to create. And it also will get you to know me a little bit better and what my story is and how I've manifested. And then this book is the spiritual end of manifesting and how to create, that wonderful expansion for your soul. This is a beautiful book. They're both really cool, really cool. This has got a cool 1111 picture on the back that's got a very cool story. So what I've decided is, if you ordered this from me in the last, right now it is, what day is it? Oh man, it's September 11th. Hello. September 11th, and we've got crazy wildfires in California. Our mountain is on fire. Luckily, it's not near us, and the winds have kind of kicked away from us, so it's not really smoky here, but I'm praying for all the firefighters and all the people that are in the trail of that, because that fire is scary. I will tell you, it is scary. It's been out on our mountain before, like really near us, and I am not a fan, but I have faith and I have trust that it's all going well. And so far, we saw lots of flames last night and we don't see any flames today. So that's great. So it's September 11th, 2024. If you ordered my new book in the last day or two, I am going to send you the second book for free. So it'll be a two for $25. That includes shipping. You can also order this on Amazon for $21, and that probably includes shipping if you have Prime. So if you want to go a little cheaper, but I'm going to put a personalized message and I'm going to sign it for you. So that's pretty cool. And if you ordered from Amazon and you're like, oh, I really wanted it to be personalized and I wanted a message in it, message me either on Facebook or my email is livelifegolden@gmail.com, and I will send you one of these signed, maybe for the shipping costs. If you can pay for the shipping costs, that'd be great. So we'll say like $10 because it's like $8 to ship these, believe it or not. Okay, so we're going to Russian roulette this baby and see what comes up. So here we go. We're going to ask for divine inspiration and divine guidance. And what comes through, I'm going to just share a paragraph and then I will share what comes through on top of that. I love to do this, especially with my older books, because I wrote this book like 3 years ago. And, you know, things morph, we expand, we create. So it's really cool to kind of go back and say, well, this is what this means to me now. So it could change. Okay, here we go. Ask for what you want. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. So let me just give you a little backstory on this. This book, there are things that happened to me in my dreams that came through for this book. This has never happened to me before. I've never written down my dreams. I've never looked at my dreams. But what ended up happening is I started to get these dreams and decided to write a book about them. And then I had already been writing this book and I decided that they connected. So I put them together. So this was my dream all about a turkey vulture, which seems very strange. So the dream was this. I remember feeling very frightened. I was standing in a field with my husband and suddenly saw a giant turkey vulture overhead. I remember feeling very frightened because it was more like a pterodactyl in size, reaching about 10 times its normal size and looking quite menacing. It landed on some weird circular statue above us, and I had a distinct feeling of being very unsafe in my dream. Suddenly, this giant bird swooped down and picked my husband up by the back of the shirt. In terror, I started screaming and looked down to see many big sticks and rocks on the ground. I screamed and threw things in an effort to get the giant bird to release my husband from this massive, sharp talons. I was screaming for the bird to let him go, and just like that, he released him. My husband floated down like a feather and landed back down beside me. There was no drama of him falling on the ground. He just appeared next to me. I was so relieved that I cried and hugged him. He comforted me, saying, "You didn't need to be afraid. You just needed to ask for what you desired." Pretty cool. Well, going into the turkey vulture and looking at what the description of a turkey vulture is. So what I love to do is I love to do animal totems. So if an animal becomes very prevalent to you, like you see it a bunch or it flies in front of you or it does something that's really interesting, or, you know, there's a lot of them. Like sometimes I'll see a lot of bunnies or there's like spiders all over our backyards. There's messages in those animal totems for you. They are being sent to you, right? So looking up the turkey vulture was one of the most interesting totems I think I've ever dived into. And it's given me a whole new respect for these birds that I probably never even really even thought about before. So a turkey vulture actually goes and finds, you know, animals that are decomposing. They fly around and they find these decomposing animals and they ingest them and they alchemize the bacteria so that it becomes clean, so that it takes that bacteria off of the earth and it transforms it into food for them. Kind of gross, yes. They're actually referred to as the golden purifier. So I thought that was so cool and so interesting because they alchemize bacteria. They alchemize E. coli, things that are dangerous to us. They alchemize it and make our earth safer. So I thought that was super interesting. And when it came to this dream that I had that I was so frightened about, I realized there's so many times that we go through life super fearful, because we don't trust what's going to happen. I didn't trust in my dream. I didn't trust that bird would return my husband to me safely. I imagined the worst case scenario was that he would take my husband away and, I don't know, eat him, right? Alchemize him. So in that dream, I realized how many times, and you can ask yourself this question, how many times have you put yourself in fear and not trusted the energy of what's about to happen, not trusted that your biggest challenges, the things that are happening to you, the things that you're looking at in this grand illusion that are not optimal. What is it? Is it fear? Is it, trepidation? Is it worry? Is it fighting against? Is it resistance to what's happening? What's causing you to not step into faith and trust that your desire is going to come floating down like a feather? So if you could imagine or think about or consider or continue to believe this and feel this and take this with you, that every single thing that's happening to you, there is always a purpose of good in it. There is always something about to manifest for you from that less than optimal condition that's going to create good, because less than optimal conditions actually fuel our desire towards what we want, right? Remember the stones and the sticks I was throwing? Those are your desires going out and telling the universe what you want. And you gain that clarity by having conditions that are less than optimal. So everything that is happening to you is for your greatest good. And when you shift and you have faith in that, then you look at life very differently and you manifest in life very differently. You spend a lot less time in what Abraham Hicks calls the stage one of creating, which is the asking, which is the desire, which is kind of the misery, right? Like, oh, I want this, I can't have it. It's getting yourself through that phase a lot faster so that you can manifest. It's causing this wave to go a lot quicker towards what you desire, instead of being this like super bumpy road where you've got your desire and you're really wanting it, but you're in misery. So you're slowing the energy way down. Cool. That was a cool one to start with. I wasn't expecting that, and hopefully I didn't ruin that for you. There's more in the book about it. It definitely goes in depth about that particular dream. And it was fascinating. It was fascinating to have that message come through for a dream that I woke up and I felt a lot of fear from. Okay, here we go. Mindful manifestation secrets. Remember, this is also on Audible, and to be just to understand, if you have read this and you haven't listened to it, the Audible is really good. I actually am the narrator because you learn different when you listen versus when you read. And it's always good to revisit books too, because they're going to mean something totally different to you the second time around. Okay, ready? Asking for that divine guidance and inspiration. Here we go. Mindful and aware. Okay. Now your job, this is funny because I actually just said this today to my daughter. Your job is to become super aware and interrupt the thought patterns that bring you back to a low level vibration. The best way to do this is to become mindful and present in your everyday life. Becoming present means you are bringing your entire self to experiences and no longer having the negative commentary that has accompanied your activities up until now. By clearing your mind and staying present, you will deactivate the thought patterns that have been creating in your experience. You will pull your attention away from those things that you no longer wish to create. So I was talking to my daughter today, love this message, and she had something happen, a breakup with a particular person, and she actually saw that it was a really good thing that they broke up. Really good thing that they broke up. So she was battling between being devastated about it and being relieved about it. And I said, well, just keep leaning into relief. So we were talking, and, I could tell in her voice, she was definitely leaning more towards feeling devastated, which we have to do. We have to process our feelings. So what I said to her, I said, honey, now that you know, right, like what I just said about things that are less than optimal being really good for you, now that you know that this was a really good thing for you, you can close the chapter on it. But what's going to happen now is your thoughts have been amplified. Anytime you get into a fight with someone or you have a breakup with someone or anything like that, your thoughts are going to go wild. Your mind's going to go crazy because your ego is like in full force, right? What they did to me, you become that victim again and that blame, and you think about how wrong they are. And you literally feel like your thoughts are thinking you and you can't get out of it. I remember a long time ago, I had an amazing best friend. She was my best friend in the whole wide world. We did everything together for years. Our kids were best friends. We had holidays together. We spent just about every single day together when my kids were little. And I remember when our friendship ended, and it was devastating. Like, it was literally one of the hardest breakups I ever went through. And I remember thinking, oh, it was devouring me. The thoughts were devouring me, and going over the last conversation and the fight that we had and where she was wrong and all of that. And this was very much before I was super conscious about like, where is my stuff in this? I just remember that. So if you're in that right now, I send you love and compassion, because that's a challenging place to be. But what I said to my daughter is, this is where the work begins, because now you've got to work on closing those neural pathways that are going to eat you alive. They're just going to cause you misery. They're going to cause you to not be able to let this thing go. They're going to cause you to want to reach out and tell this person how you feel. So if you're done, you're done. You need to be done. So I said, what you need to do right now is you need to do whatever you can to distract yourself from those neural pathways and close them up, because you're in the middle of a loop. You're on that roller coaster ride right now. So what she did was, I said, go to hot yoga. She's like, I'm going to go to hot yoga. She goes, yeah, I'm going to go to hot yoga. If I got to leave right now, I'm like, go to hot yoga. And she said, she just texted me, which is so funny. Thanks for calling me at the right moment and inspiring me to go to hot yoga. That's exactly what I needed. And it's right next to a nail salon. So I'm treating myself to a pedicure before I get Kins. Wow. Just wow. Right? Like, amazing. So do whatever you can if you're in that place right now, or if you find yourself in that place, in the next couple of months or whatever, or ever. Do yourself a favor and do whatever you can to get yourself away from it, because, momentum, law of attraction works positively and negatively, and momentum can be very strong. Momentum can feel like something that you can't get off. It can feel like a ride that you can't get off. When you're able to get away from it, whether it's something that has invoked fear, devastation, whatever it is, whatever that negative energy, those negative thoughts that are fueling that negative emotion in you is, spend time processing, journal it out, talk about it inside, in your own relationship, get it out, journal it out. You can talk to a trusted friend. I'm not against that. I think sometimes it's really important to process with people. But I also think that then there's a time that we need to make decisions for ourselves and stop talking about it, because talking about it, you're literally aligning with the energy over and over again. The more you talk about it, the more opinions you get about it, you're aligning with the energy. So if you want to get away from that and you want to stop attracting that, you got to start closing down the neural pathways. And the best way to do that is through distraction. This also works with addiction. If you're trying to get yourself out of an addiction, say not right now. The craving, not right now, or not today. I know Julia Cameron, she wrote The Artist's Way. I read her story, her life story, and she had trouble with alcohol, and she would say, just don't drink. Just don't drink. So it works with addictions as well, but closing down those neural pathways, because as soon as you entertain a thought about it, you're going for a ride. And then after like 68 seconds of being on that ride, you're going to start manifesting in the physical, whatever that feeling is. So we don't want to do that with negative emotion, right? This is not about bypassing negative emotion. This is about taking the reins back and deciding, okay, I'm going to process this for 15 minutes and then I'm going to move forward. Really cool show, Shrinking. One of my favorite shows. It's on Apple TV. It was actually written by the guy, Roy Kent. His name is Brett in real life, who was Roy Kent and Ted Lasso. If you haven't seen those two shows, they are absolutely my all-time favorite shows. But Shrinking, we just watched over again because it's about to come back for another season. And the Harrison Ford is in it, and he is brilliant. Every one of the characters in it is so good. And he said to this daughter who had lost her mother, he said, just grieve for 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes a day. Let yourself cry, listen to a sad song, and get the emotions out. And that started to really transform her and helped her to start letting go of the grief and the guilt of being a happy teenager again. It's such a good show. I highly recommend it. All right. So we're going to go to the journal now. Yeah, why not? Because this journal, I also think, is absolutely gorgeous. This is a hardcover, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's really worth it. It has a bunch of writing prompts in it, and it has a lot of blank pages for journaling, but it also has 100 pages of content about your how to, have the best start to your day, to guide you daily. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Inspiringly divine. Okay, here we go. Oh, blank page. Okay, vibration and frequency. I love it. When you truly understand that you are a vibrational being, your world begins to change. We do, in fact, have control over our vibration, and therefore what we send out and attract in the world. If you are new to this game, you may not feel like you have any control because you have never trained your mind or work with your emotions. I think you should be very excited about that. It's a brand new chapter in your life where you get to start creating consciously. It's a wonderful time for you to understand that everything is energy and you are the great big conductor of it. I'm going to read the next paragraph because it's really good. And I feel like these messages all correlate with each other, which is pretty beautiful. Your vibration is based on your state or your mood. It's the most dominant feeling you have going on within, and it means everything. To take it a step further, we look at the frequency of the life you are creating. Imagine you are one big radio station and the stations are based on how you are feeling. There is an angry station, a frustration station, a love station, a lighthearted station, a depressed station, and an appreciation station, and so on. You get the gist. Every feeling you have has a station, and what comes to you is based on what station you are tuned into. How freaking cool is that? So I talk a lot about this, about vibration and frequency, and I think the simplest way to understand it is the big radio station. Another way that I like to explain it is like we're a light board, and where we're lit up, what emotion we're lit up in, what state we're in, how we're feeling about ourselves, about the world, about other people, everything on that light board that is of that likeness, right? Like attracts like, is going to be lit up as well, and it's going to come to us. So I love to share that law of attraction is not necessarily everything that comes at you. And that the reason that that's true is because of momentum. So let's say you've been living for a long time in financial struggle and you make the decision one day to let it go. You're not going to live like that anymore. You're not going to live paycheck to paycheck. You're going to find another way. You're going to become abundant, and you're going to start noticing the abundance all around you. So you start noticing the beautiful sunrise, the beautiful sunset, the beautiful flowers, the beautiful sky, and you start feeling an elevation in your state or your mood, and you start feeling more abundant. So because of the energy, right? The energy needs a little time to catch up to the physical. So you're doing this physically, you're doing this energetically, but you have all this momentum of being in the struggle behind you, coming still kind of in you, still kind of around you, right? So you get an unexpected bill in the mail. Now, this is where law of attraction really, the rubber hits the road here. How you respond is everything. So are you going to go back to that struggling identity, or are you going to continue the journey towards abundance by looking at that unexpected bill and saying, I'm abundant. This is taken care of. And really trusting and having faith in tuning into a new frequency. That's the frequency of abundance. That's how it works. Your response really determines where you are energetically, where your law of attraction, where your attraction is placed, where your placement is in attraction. So your response is everything. It's so, so important. Okay, cool. Should I do the parenting one? I think I'm going to do the parenting one. Why not? I got some parents on here. I know that for sure. Okay. Of course, I opened pictures of my family. Okay. My baby pictures. Ooh, this one might be kind of salty. All right. Lazy parenting. Okay, so if you're quick to be offended, you may want to check yourself before you read this part. This is kind of funny because I don't think I've ever actually even addressed this in my parenting podcasts. We'll see. I see a lot of lazy parenting out there and parents who are so overwhelmed with surviving that many of our kids are not getting their emotional needs met. If you've never talked to your kids, taken an interest in them, taken any interest in them, or engaged in conversations, you will put yourself and your family in a losing position. When kids are little, they need structure. They need to know where the boundaries are, and they need to learn that they will not get their way when they're exhibiting negative emotions. If you do give in to them when they are creating negatively, you will teach them that this is how life works and that it is a terrible disservice. My advice here is to never give in when they are having a fit. If they are begging you and carrying on, you already said no, they must exhibit better behavior before you allow them to do whatever it is they wanted to do. Do your best to not say no to everything and really consider what they are asking before you answer. I always say, let me think about it so I can decide from a conscious place and not just spout out no, because this can be an automatic response. Once you say no, it's not a great idea to change your mind, because that teaches your child that they can beg incessantly or pitch a fit, and then you will change your mind. I am pretty firm once I say no, and that is why I really like to think about it before I say it. When it comes to younger children, the way I see lazy parenting is when you yell at them for having negative emotions or you give in to them so they don't freak out. Now, I know temper tantrums are a bitch. I get it. They happen at the most inconvenient times and seem to shred our nerves like no other thing on the planet. This is why meditating and being super conscious and aware is so important. The cleaner you can keep your energy and the higher you can maintain your high vibe, no matter what is happening around you, the less these temper tantrums will rule your household. If you are having temper tantrums alongside your child, just know that you are human. Learning to manage the vast amount of emotions we have in the face of adversity is seriously expanding and big growth stuff. Oh, that was okay. So this is the thing about parenting and about kind of holding someone's emotional it's so funny because I'm an observer. So I've been observing a lot lately, and I do not have little kids anymore, which is really, really great. Like my husband always said, you're going to miss this. And we look out there and we go, no, we're good. We're good. We served our time. We feel good about having adult children and manifesting these beautiful relationships that we have now. But when it comes to watching and observing, I can't believe how much negotiating people are doing with these little beings that are just completely unreasonable. It's just so interesting. And I give parents a lot of credit for doing that. And it's one of the biggest things with your child, no matter what age they are, is to recognize that they are a little being, a little soul, a little human that has their own desires, their own ways about going about the world, their own things that they want to do and things that their own agendas, what they want to accomplish. And they shouldn't be wronged for that. And they shouldn't be punished for their negative emotions. But the boundary part of it is really just saying, listen, I understand, especially if you have adolescents or teenagers, I understand you're not feeling well. I understand that, you feel like the world is against you. You feel like I'm your biggest enemy, but I love you. And I just don't want to be talked down to. So if you feel like you need to do that, I'm not going to take it personally, but that's not the way this relationship is going to be set up. So it's really just taking the reins, not in anger. If you're in anger, if you're in frustration, if you're yelling at them, I always say it's not a teaching moment. Nobody's going to learn anything. So if they're really upset and you're really upset, just say, you know what, we need to take a break. And teach them that taking a break is really healthy. Not sending them to their room or sending them to timeout. Just, we need to take a break. We need to cool off. We both need to process. and then coming back when everybody's a little bit calmer, or even writing letters to each other about what your needs are, what you're feeling inside. It's really, really important that we get these kids to start feeling and healing, because otherwise they're going to keep pushing their emotions down. They're not going to know why they feel so bad, and then they're going to create from risky behaviors. So that was an unexpected message I didn't realize was going to come through. All right, let's keep going. This is fun. I'm having a good time here. All right, we're going back to the first book. This is so different, and it's kind of a blast because I don't have to stick to one subject. Okay, so just give us the next message. Okay. All right, I don't know what dream this is, but we're going to talk about it. Okay. The message regarding this dream has to do with our willingness to process our emotions. You can't make this shit up. Like, it's literally so guided. Okay. It takes a great deal of strength, bravery, and vulnerability to look at the deeper emotions you may never have made room for. You may have gotten really good at compartmentalizing your life, and if you're good at mind training, you can trick yourself into never looking at what could take you down. You could go your whole life living in denial and making yourself so busy that you never look inside. You may think this is an excellent way to go about life, and you may even be thinking right now it's a great way to go away without ever looking at the pain you have inside. It's a great way to get away without ever looking at the pain you have inside. Unfortunately, the truth is, in some ways, you are creating from it. You may also be triggered to feel those emotions at the most inopportune time. The more productive way to deal with your emotions or the traumas that still live inside your vibration is to face them, to look them in the face and ask them to leave. Take some deep breaths and allow yourself to feel any painful emotion you have never promised. I've talked to many people who say it was an absolute shit show when they started meditating because every emotion they have been running from came to the surface. This may seem like a deterrent, but I promise you, if you do it, you will be freed from these underlying emotions and no longer create from them. Your emotions are a very important part of your growth, and if you don't deal with them, you will have to find more and more ways of staying busy and maybe a few addictions to cover up your unhappiness. Emotions are your guide, so when they aren't dealt with or you wait until they are entirely beyond your control, you are not taking advantage of the greatest practice in being a creator: emotional intelligence. Wow. Yes, emotions are your guide. They are here to tell you very important things about what needs to be healed, about what you want to create next. Like, they're great clarifiers. So if you're in some heavy, dense emotion about something, look at that. Ask yourself, when is the first time I ever felt this? Why am I feeling this way? What would I have to believe to feel this way? Because most likely you are believing in the direction of what you don't want if you're experiencing a lot of negative emotion. Get excited about your negative emotion, because the way you're feeling and being upset about it or anxious about it or fearful about it is leading you to the clarification of what you actually want to create. That's the good thing. That's the good part. Because most of us won't change if things are okay. Most of us won't do anything when things are okay, or when things are like kind of tolerable. We won't do anything. It's until they become intolerable, or until they become so bad that we just can't deal with it anymore, that we actually change. So if you're going through something really massive right now, it's a really good thing. And if it's really, really bad right now, the density tells you that it's about to change. Yeah, anytime that it gets really, really super bad, that's when things are about to change, because that's when you're going to do things. You're going to take risks. You're going to get out of your comfort zone to change things, because the unhappiness that you're feeling is not acceptable anymore. And that is really important. So emotional intelligence is all about connecting with your emotions, asking yourself why you're feeling that way, where it's coming from, recognizing which emotions are coming from that inner child, that 5-year-old self. My cat is trying to get up here. Let's see if she can actually do it. Lulu. Most of them, a lot of them will come from that inner child, from that child that didn't get the emotional needs met. So once you start to initiate with that, and once you start to recognize and realize, you can heal from it, then you're really on your way. You're really on your way to emotional intelligence. And then it's looking at your emotions, and it's not being on this steam train of life. It's actually slowing down a little bit, recognizing the emotions, giving yourself time to process before you get into a fight with somebody, and saying, you know what, I need to take a step back. You have that space, right? From meditating, you've got that space to say, I'm really making a lot of assumptions here. I really need to take a step back. I'm really feeling triggered here. I need to take a step back. That's emotional intelligence. And then being able to process how you're feeling by yourself, and then talking to the person from like where your stuff is and how you can come to, you know, a better place together energetically and physically, so that you aren't in this, you know, tit for tat or fighting back and forth. It doesn't go anywhere. It just ends up hurting people, really. You know, sometimes in rage and fights, I've definitely noticed this with my family, it does clear the air, but that's when you're not clearing the air as you go, right? Everything's starting to build, and then you need to have this big explosion. That's because emotions haven't been processed along the way. Here she is. She's here. Okay. She likes to be on camera. Yeah. Say hi, Lou. She's just really loves attention right now. All right. So that is emotional intelligence. And that came from the book that I just put out. So let's go back to Mindful Manifestation Secrets and see what we got with a cat on our lap. Okay. I love this. All right. Okay. Time to go, kitty. Allowing and resistance. Paying attention to how you feel is of the utmost importance when you are working with energetic alignment. If you are feeling stressed, frenetic, and desperate, it is a clear sign that you are not working in the co-creative partnership you have access to with the universe. We have been brought up with the social programming that if it's to be, it's up to me. With that attitude, we block all of the universal support that is trying to come to us. Okay, you're going to make my microphone. She's rubbing on the microphone. Okay, time for you to go. I love you. Oh, okay. Great. Love cats. Just love them. Okay. With that attitude, we block all of the universal support that is trying to come to us. When we relax, quiet our minds, and get back into alignment with universal forces, we connect with the ease and flow of how life really works. If you are currently involved with something that feels very difficult, it is because you have not engaged with the flow of universal support, or you are trying to make something happen that is not in your highest and best interest. So we say this all the time around my house. If it's not supposed to be hard. And that's definitely something that we have not been taught. I feel like we've all been programmed to believe that life is hard and that we're supposed to push things. You know, we're supposed to have goals. We're supposed to set goals. We're supposed to make them happen. And as much as I do agree with action, I think action is a very important part of manifesting. I think action has actually gotten a bad rap in the world of manifesting and law of attraction. Think about it. If you believe in an attraction-based universe, then you're going to believe that everything's going to come to you. So many people who have watched The Secret or, you know, studied a little bit about law of attraction believe that they can sit in their house and things will manifest, that a sports car will show up in their driveway or the love of their life will knock on the door. Not necessarily true. There is something that happens when we're in physical action. Physical action does a couple of things. It tells the universe what we want. It's a yes to the universe. It's a high five to the universe. It also amps up our energy field, right? Remember what I said. You're not going to change things when you feel okay. When you're in action, you're feeling a little better about yourself. If you're not in desperation, if you're not like pushing the energy field, if you're actually doing things that feel exciting, that are creative, you're putting yourself in a wonderful place energetically. And then action, it also puts us in the energetic field. So it gets us out of the house and into the field where we can bump into people, where we can create miracles, where we can be part of life. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Connecting, being part of life, spending time with other people, exchanging energy. That's what we're supposed to be doing as a collective. I do believe that human connection is one of the most important and the most strained right now, where, we're not connecting where we used to, because again, social media is giving us all of our dopamine rushes. So we think we're good. We're not good. We need to get out there. We need to be with people, network, meet with people, have breakfast, have lunch, live your life, get out of your house, get off your TVs, get off your phone. Okay. That's my deal there. But allowing and resistance. So the difference between allowing and resistance is a very subtle energy field. When you're allowing, you're in a state of looking, noticing, being aware, and following signs. So you're actually looking for signs. You're actually expecting signs. Your energetic field is of expectation. When you're in resistance, you're fighting against what's happening. You're trying to push the energy. You're trying to make things happen that aren't flowing. So you can feel it. I can always feel when the energy releases. I can always feel it, and I love it. It's one of the best feelings, because all of a sudden, something we're working on, there's a change, and I can feel things starting to shift and turn and feel easier. I know that's the right way to go. So when you get really good at watching energy or feeling energy or being aware of energy, conscious of energy, then you know the way to go. That flow, that feeling of flow, there's no resistance in that. And it's a beautiful place to be. It really is. It's a great place to be. All right. The journal, once again, we'll have to go to the front because that's where the 100 pages of content are. Okay. Identity creation, one of my favorite subjects. The concept of identity creation takes the law of attraction into a deeper realm. When you realize that you must become what you wish to create, you become much more powerful. When you start asking yourself how you would feel if you were already living the life you desire and start feeling those feelings more, you are right on top of bringing things into the physical. You must become that which you seek. What slows energy down is when you lack what you say you want to become. You feel misery about it. You become impatient, frustrated, and downright ornery. You don't trust, and therefore you cannot create. So much of what you are looking to experience has to do with your feelings, because remember, the feeling is the manifestation. So if it's abundance you're after, getting upset about your bills doesn't fit in with the identity of someone who is abundant. This is a setup, you guys. If it's more love you are looking for, then being lonely and sad doesn't fit in with the alignment of that manifestation. By contemplating, visualizing, and working on your feeling game, you will empower the energy to start reorganizing in favor of what you would like to create. Oh, that was so good. Identity creation is one of my favorite things. I always recommend Fred Dodson's book, Parallel Universe of Self. It's actually under my computer. I don't read it. You got to listen to it because it's so deep and so dense, and you might not even like it. Like, I'm a little bit of a science geek at this point, and I really love it. But identity creation is where it's at. It takes law of attraction way deeper, because it's not just about attracting something. It's about becoming something. And if you listen to some of the more evolved leaders, they will tell you we're not attracting. We are literally aligning. We are becoming. And that's what changes everything when you start to understand that. So thank you, book. That was an amazing little pull from there. I guess I'll do one more of these, and then we're going to jump into a little energy work. Okay. Oh, okay. This is a really good one. There is nothing wrong with wanting to teach your kids responsibility and also having some help around the house, especially if you work outside the home and can't possibly get everything done. I like conversations that communicate teamwork and provide your children with the knowledge of what you face on a daily basis. Let them know how stressed you feel when things get out of control at home, and share that you are out there working hard for them. Help them to understand that you know doing chores sucks and you aren't a fan of them either. If there is a chore they really despise doing, then maybe trade it for something else, or teach them the art of mastering something they don't like by changing the way they think about it. We can do this for ourselves too. Like, for instance, let's say you hate cleaning out the dishwasher. My grandmother told me that. I always think about that when I clean out the dishwasher, because my grandmother said the one thing she hated was cleaning out the dishwasher. And I was like, it's really not that hard. Like, why have resistance about cleaning out the dishwasher? It takes like literally less than 5 minutes. Like, for instance, okay, say you hate Cleaning out. What can you do to make this chore less disliked by you? Can you turn on some good music? Can you do it as a family? One person does the silverware, another one does the plates, and the other one does the glasses. Any chore can be made less painful by the way we are thinking about it. You can actually love washing dishes if you become totally present and realize that doing the dishes actually forces you to slow down and breathe. I needed that message. Feeling the warm water on your skin, removing all the food, rinsing the dishes that lovingly held the food you all ate can be an expansive experience into more joy if you will allow it to be that. I know, you're probably like, yeah, right. You can teach these practices to your kids too, as long as they are opening to listening. I even like the idea of brainstorming with them to see how you could all look at chores differently. Like, why are you cleaning the litter box? Can you think about how happy your cats are every time they have a clean box to go in? Or every time you walk the dog and have to pick up their poop, can you look around at the beauty of the sky or focus on the relief your dog feels that it is outside and relieving itself? I know, I may be crossing over a line here into Pollyanna land. You may be rolling your eyes at, but seriously, what do you have to lose in looking at life's monotony with a fresh new perspective? All right, that was a good one as well. That is all about mastery, right? Mastering our minds, mastering what we're doing, helping our kids to do that as well, because life isn't always going to be like super fun and happy and joyful. Sometimes we got to do these things that if we put up a lot of resistance against them, it takes longer. It's more painful. Okay, we're going to do a quick energy. This was so fun, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I hope you get every one of these. There's so much good information in here about mastering your life, mastering your mind, and just becoming more masterful at this human condition. All right, close your eyes. Take a deep breath with me. Yes, deep, deep, deep. Hold it for a minute, not a minute. Just a few seconds. And then let it go. Feel your body relax when you let it go and really let all the air out. And hold. When you hold, try to push into here. And release. Letting your shoulders drop, your energy clear, your mind get clearer, your shoulders get a little more relaxed. One more time. And hold. Bring your belly in. And let go. All right, now we're in this beautiful space together. Let's bring in some high frequencies. So we call upon this beautiful divine energy, non-physical energy, all of our angelic counterparts, and we just ask for light, for love, for freedom, for the chance to become more, to expand and grow with one another. To be here in this moment, to allow all of these teachings to really solidify and become part of our nature so that we can become the nurturers, we can become the compassionate ones, and we can allow kindness and love to be our guiding post. To be one with the collective and to realize that our energy does influence everyone else. Just as a pebble hits the rock and creates ripples, our kindness, our love, our ability to navigate in a higher vibrational realm allows us to invite others to do the same. When we share love with someone who is not necessarily feeling loving, when we give understanding to someone who feels misunderstood, when we stand in the place of divine intervention, we become those little miracles. We become those angels on earth. Bringing in all this beautiful light and love, rushing through every one of your cells, cleaning up your DNA, cleaning up your cellular structure, allowing your cells to replenish, renew, reorganize, allowing you to feel health and vitality and the strength of everything that's to come. That was a super, super duper fast show and really fun. I really had a good time, and I hope you did as well. You can get all of these books on Amazon, Quantum Speak for Parents, Mindful Manifestation Secrets, also on Audible. The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul. If you message me, I will send you one of these right now with a personalized message and signature, because I've got a box of them just waiting to go out, waiting to spread this stuff all over the world. I also have these available for the message as well. I have a box of these as well. These are a little more costly because of the hardcover and what I need to do to ship them. So keep that in mind. But you can message me at livelifegolden@gmail if you're interested in any of these. And Audible, I do have a free thing for Audible. If you have never been on Audible before, I can send it to you for free. You do need to sign up, but you don't need to actually do anything. I think they give you like 3 months free right now. So Audible is really cool. It's great to be able to listen to books. So I love you all. I'm so happy you were here, and I hope you really benefited from these messages. I know I did, and I will see y'all next week. Peace out.